Buonasera. Tablet collabora cortesemente.
Is Masako checking up on me to make sure I'm on her side? In this business, there's always... We
Sì,
just
sì,
need
bla
to...
bla bla
I'm
bla
all
bla
about
bla bla
free
bla
PR.
bla 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 bla.
You know, if any of those ghosts... All right, I suppose. So let's hear it. The possible backlash on... However, it's not an opportunity. You're
Ok.
right. The moment you violate your customer's trust, there's a good... Even worse. You push... Well, it seems your talents really do stretch beyond just being an operative. Good talk.
You operatives, just the person Good. You've had the chance. Do you think they're worth saving the job? It's a financial. This is true. Getting what?
Blah,
Next
blah.
question. What is your opinion? And why do you feel it? I agree. I appreciate. It's only dangerous. I think we all know how averse I am. Our competition. This has been rather enlightening for me. I appreciate the time.
Vediamo un po'. Meglio la tutina del... Va bene. Poveri noi.
All right, everyone. As you all know, we've successfully exposed Infinity Ltd's botched human trials and murder for hire through SSNN. The public is demanding their leadership, namely Lucas Drexler, face trial, and he's probably writing his resignation as we speak. Ryujin will be launching a statement, but I believe now is the perfect time to acquire Infinity Ltd.
Believe it or not, I agree. The acquisition has risks, and it's going to create...
That and Infinity Ltd's current situation makes them...
Arguments?
Acquiring Infinity Ltd now is not a good look, especially if the public believes Masako was involved.
I think what we're all overlooking is what led us to this situation to begin with. Yes, our security was compromised. But considering Dalton was hired by In fact, I propose that Masako...
Ularu, this isn't a line you want to cross.
And considering you're the mole, if anyone's going to be removed from power, it's going to be you.
Hold up. Are you saying you lied to us?
Dalton, the last meeting we had, you distinctly said Imogene was the mole, and she'd been dealt with. You struck me as a quick thinker.
Do you even have any proof
Too
to
bad.
back up this outrageous claim?
Of course we do. The malicious code you hid on this slate to upload incriminating evidence against Masako onto Lucas Drexler's computer.
To put it bluntly, Ularu, you're fired. Security will hold you in your office until a proper exit interview can be done.
This isn't right. I should at least have the opportunity to resign.
And allow you to still be marketable to a competitor? I don't think so. This may be news to me, and I will be reviewing the evidence closely. But this isn't something you just get to walk away from.
Security, escort Miss Chen to her office and see that she stays put.
You'll regret this. All of you.
I believe the only regret would be trusting you to begin with.
All right, back to business. All in favor of acquiring Infinity Ltd?
Aye.
All against?
Nay.
Good. Alexis, start drawing up the necessary documentation. Anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up? The internal neuroamp is a key component of Ryujin Industries' success for the next 10 years, if not more. Why would we shelve it after we've finally perfected it? Well,
I can't believe I'm saying this, but he's right. Regardless of the pros, the cons are too morally and ethically irresponsible to move forward with.
The moment the public gets wind of the true capabilities of this tech, we're gonna suffer severe backlash.
very well. All in favor of shelving Project Dominion?
Aye.
Vina, prep Project Dominion for storage. Any other matters to bring forth? None? This concludes our order of business for today.
If only there were more hours in the day.
Va bene.
Shelving the internal neuroamp. Not the outcome I anticipated. A fine point, but it still proves its usefulness. The truth remains, Lucas Drexler learned a hard lesson, and we exposed a traitor among us. You've proven yourself to be quite the asset here at Ryujin. It's well earned and deserved. I truly appreciate the work you put into exposing Ularu. No operative has ever had to investigate our own to the extent that you did. I can imagine it may have been a lot of pressure, considering you were fairly new at the time. Imogene's instincts were right about you. Now, as promised, I have your bonus. I hope you'll find it appropriate for all you've done. And I'm promoting you to senior operative. You've more than earned it. As for the details, I think someone back on the operation.
Tutto sto sbattimento qua 5k e soltanto senior. Cioè, pensavo di diventare dirigente. Ma tu guarda. Bah. A dir poco assurdo.
Welcome to Ryujin Tower's executive floor. Can I help you?
Cioè, vabbè. Pensavo mi facesse vicepresidente, sinceramente.
You've certainly shaken things up around here. I still can't believe Ularu tried to frame me. An obvious misjudgment on my part. But now that's all in the past. It's time to get back to your typical day-to-day. Well, could be worse. You could be looking at a desk job like me. Now, since you are new, you've been dealing with people, but most of our assignments are generated on the mission board. The board holds any available assignments that our techs have pieced together, and I've approved. Questions? No, but try to see that as an improvement, since I certainly do. The mission board is more efficient for both of us. I wish. Assignment. With your promotion, you've earned yourself an office, so whenever you're ready, you can find your own personal mission board inside. And the best perk of them all, you're free to make your own hours. Oh, and congratulations, of course. No, only within the tower. The security risk would be... At this point, I wouldn't doubt it. Go check out the board, and if you have any questions...
Va bene. Meh. Va bene. Flotta cremisi. Navetta piccola. Ok. Ok.
What's the word for that again? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I've got no idea.
It's good to see you again. The viewport still makes their drinks just the way I remember. I feel a lot better too. Steadier. More like myself. I'm still a little shaky, but I'm doing much better than the last time we met. And my engineering skills are no worse for wear. Have you given any more thought to taking me on as an engineer for your crew? Are you serious? You'll really give me a chance? You have my word that you won't regret this. I'll do my best to live up to your expectations, Captain. Really.
Perché sta laggando adesso? Qual è il problema?
Hi there, friend. Oh, it's you. What can I do you for? Terrific. Let's take a look.
Lag dei lag. E là.
Goodbye.
Ma che cavolo?
You've been gone a long time. Need me to take a look at the ship? I'm glad you're back. I was starting to get worried. Bye.
Sento che se le premesse sono sta lag qua, che conviene riavviare il gioco. Non inizia a far così, che nervoso.
You know, there's something to be said. Please.
Ora che ci penso, non mi sono guardato il colloquio finale della tizia. Vediamo un salva, andiamo a vedere, giusto per... Dai, muoviti. Dov'è il mouse? Non c'era neanche il mouse, porca miseria.
You've certainly shaken. I still can't. But now that's. And I'd say it's good now, since the board hold. With your promotion, and the best perk of them all. Oh, and you certainly will. Go check out the board.
I've got my eye on you.
Well, don't let it go to your head. You just happen to be the one taking on the assignment. Enjoy this little victory while it lasts. It's only a matter of time before Masako lets the competition run you over. And by then, I'll have recovered from this setback. Let them try. I should be the one running this corporation. I've been earning it ever since the day I started here. 10 years from now, when Ryujin's being choked by competition, you'll all regret this. Now get out. I'm tired of you. Come here to rub it in?
Don't cause any trouble. Keep out of my way, and I'll keep out of yours.
Curioso che non ci sia la possibilità di...
Well... Sounds like a rare... Enjoy this little It's only a matter of... And by then, I'll have... Yeah, so you can turn around and backstab me at your next... Your love of credits. I should be the one run. I've been earning... Now get out.
Pare di no. Va bene, non si può fare. Dato un livello parecchio alto. Quindi possiamo caricare tranquillamente su salvataggio, anzi fare un bel alt F4, perché qua lo vedo troppo poco stabile. Rilanciamolo. Fa così. No, un momento. Sento ancora la musica sotto di Ehi. Gestione attività. Che succede qua? Ok, ora si è chiuso veramente. Ok, ora posso avviare il gioco. No. Vabbè, fa niente. Non ci ho pensato. Qui ci clicchiamo un altro bel caricamento. Non vorrei che debba riavviare addirittura il computer, perché qua, cioè, proprio lento barra bloccato, non capisco. Questa qua è la fabbrica dei Mac con il primo cavalleria. Quindi bisogna andare prima alla loggia. Vediamo. No, ma ho già lasciato giù le cose in realtà. Ah, potrei riprendermi Sara come companion, tra l'altro, visto che sono solo. Dov'è Sara? Qua. La smetti di caricare cosa a caso? Porca miseria. Ok, Sara è sulla nave. Quindi devo fare crew e poi rimuovi, conferma. Ah, proprio l'ho persa per sempre, tipo. Mappa, poi G.
Never mind. Sorry. Thinking of something else. Yes, Captain.
This looks a lot less like a mine. I mean, did we all choose to come back? I mean, I don't want to say that's a bad thing, but I thought we had already said goodbye and we were all... All right, let's salvage something from this wreckage. That good, huh? All the more Look, I know everyone's probably overjoyed to see you, especially now that... But I'm telling you, take the jump. And yeah, I know I'm being hypocritical. Hey, when you're not busy, let's chat.
Prendi in giro.
Neon. You think it would be peaceful with all those calm water, but I can't think of any town that's more stressful. Reusion, Infinity, and there you were, navigating corporate bureaucracy like a professional. It must have been good to be back in your element then. Climbing corporate ladders, comparing projected sales just leave me out of it, right? I got planets to... Look, I know Neon is going to be Neon, no matter what any of us do. But I'm glad you put a stop to that neural amp tech. Nothing... I do. Trust me. I think it's fascinating. And has... But we can't just believe that they have the best intent. Too much is at stake to risk it. I guess we'll find out if we can trust them if you suddenly start coming after all of us, huh? Oh, you know, just that experimental technology. Anyway, not that I care a ton about the internal politics of some So Masako, huh? I mean, between her and Ularu Chen, I get it, but... Sometimes the least worst option is all we can get. Anyway, you didn't happen to pick up any investment. Just kidding. I know now isn't the best time, but I need to talk with you later.
Ancora.
Well, if it isn't our own ranger. I hope you're not taking the... A badge is just a symbol. You don't have to wear the object to be true to those goals. Anyway, I'm just glad Ron... Maybe he could have been rehabilitated. But I just can't see that happen. And even if so, he couldn't remain in power over those people. Not... It was a hard choice that you made, but I'm proud of you, Captain.
Ok. Andiamo alla loggia, prendiamo Sara, se c'è. E poi andiamo a farci sto Tauceti terramorfo. Abbiamo concluso. Sembra più gialla del solito la porta oggi. Sara? Non c'è Sara.
This is all exciting, but there's really a lot of pressure on us, isn't there?
Dove diavolo è Sara?
What did you want to talk about?
Come back soon. I like talking to my friends.
Dove diavolo è Sara? Altro laggone. Ma io vado anche sulla cabina di pilotaggio, poi dove vado? Proviamo.
Ship's good. Buckle up and let's go. Orbital pattern locked.
Ah, tanto devo fare la missione di barra, ora che ci penso. Completamente dimenticato.
You're back! Handling those tricky decisions regarding Ryujin must have been difficult. In fact, I'm amazed you were able to deal with them at all. Those types of corporations remind me why I never ventured into business. It is disgusting. And I'm pleased you recognized that Ryujin After all, based on your recommendation, they've ceased their work on that Why wouldn't I be? Can you imagine if that technology had fallen into the wrong hands? Yes, quite. Well, I've certainly taken up enough of... I'm here for you, my love. I'm more than ready.
Andiamo. Darling. Ma prima un po' di bonus di esperienza.
At this point, I don't care what you have to do to
Sì,
get
sì,
that
progetto la tua nave, poi lo faccio anche quello. Faccio una pennica con la mia signora.
I'm all for getting a little wild, but next time.
Risparmiamo proprio ogni possibile viaggio. Dovrebbe essere più veloce così, in teoria. Mi sono curato. Piccolo boost di esperienza.
The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC, it's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus. Woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin. A title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. I'm the last. A few of my siblings, they passed when we were young. Training accidents and the like. But most of the rest were deployed to the front lines during the Colony War, and they never came back. Not a day goes by where I don't think about what the world would look like with them still in it. A non-trivial amount of gene editing. Clone, honestly, isn't even really the right term for our relationship, thanks to the amount of donor material that was required to bring me into this world. He and I are different on more than a few levels, but there's no denying the fact we're inextricably linked.
Okay.
He would have happily told you he was one of the greats. Ultimately, though, it didn't matter. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death, on both sides. Freestar Collective, and UC. Military, and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. He had his men open fire on civilian ships during the Battle of Cheyenne. A battle that he ultimately ended up losing anyway, devastating the UC fleet and bringing the Colony War to an ugly end for the UC. But he's also the one who ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport during their outbreak, condemning countless lives. Both sides agreed the settled systems would be better without him. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already.
I bet.
You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or, if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. I mean, we never spent a lot of time together. He was too busy being Fleet Admiral to deal with kids. I was raised by a pair of guardians instead. Until his defeat during the Colony War, though, he was known as an extremely effective commander. Savvy. Perceptive. That mind opened a lot of doors for him. And for me, too. But Ve Victus, for all his ability, was heartless. Ruthless to a fault. In the end, that's what cost him his life. It's hard to know exactly what might sway them. I'd just be honest about what you saw. A colony wiped out, and a lot of lives lost. Something we don't want anyone else to have to experience. Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terramorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise. That's actually a souvenir from the Red Devils unit I was a part of. They were founded by recruits who'd worked some of Mars' deepest mines. Folks used to. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything, the human eye included. It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist with the Devils were always talked about in such revered tones during my training, so as soon as I was old enough, and the eyes were my parting gift. Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue. Here we go.
What can I do for you? Me? 6, 7 years? But Vanguard's been a quality assignment. Meet new people, judge them on...
Ancora stranito da sto sistema strampalato.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have 2 petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
That's quite the leap, Captain. Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act. 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt, the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties. Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
Just taking her word for it as well, then.
So it would seem. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
It doesn't matter if it can be weaponized or not. The archives need to remain sealed for now. There's no reason to rush into a decision of this magnitude.
That? I hadn't thought of that, Captain.
An excellent point indeed. The other powers would likely be much more inclined to work with us knowing that. Chief Diplomat.
That point is a good one. Very well, you have...
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give... What was that?
Attention. An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
Damn it. They're here. Now.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
The EM rifle, grab it! Now!
Stop! We're trying to help you!
Please! I can't stop!
That's it! Now hit him with everything you've got!
Ehi.
And that's a big mistake. And stay down!
Guess they ran away.
Lights out on that one!
Bring it on.
No, non è che stiamo semplificando la cosa. Ok.
Thank you for what you did.
The way those people were acting. I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started... We'd tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terramorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready. I honestly was just wondering the same. But no, you don't need to worry about me. I've had a Terramorph try it. So we'll just have to make sure to... I'm not suggesting. It's documented behavior. The result of the projection, though, can vary wildly. Some folks just shrug it off. Others hallucinate. And some lose control altogether. They'll lash out at anyone around them, but still be aware while they're doing it. Those cases, you'll either need to knock them out with EM fire, or free them by killing the Terramorph. Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
Credo che sti lag non aiuteranno. Comunque, vediamo come va.
Was that you?
My God, no time to waste, Captain! Boots in the dirt!
Has been issued for the spaceport district. All citizens are required to proceed to the nearest shelter.
You might back up. Don't just stand there. Kill it!
Captain! You're going to be okay! It's not real! Whatever you're experiencing right now, it's not real! We have to put down that morph!
Officer? Are you and this woman... experts? Take whatever we can get right now. We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad. We're barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, I've got one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
Security scanners, chemical sniffers. The United Colonies sure isn't taking any chances.
Heard you might be looking for some backup. You say the word.
You two have any experience with terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here. But we know how to handle prep.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. We're not afraid, but we'll stay here and hold the line if that's what you want. You're the experts. Your call. We're on the line.
That was even easier than I expected.
Vero?
Please. You have to help me.
Target down. Nice work, Captain.
It's over. Thank God. If these things reached the populated areas of the city, we would have had an absolute massacre on our hands.
Ja.
Guess they weren't kidding about you two.
I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Attention. The spaceport has been secured. Safety precautions remain in place. Please wait for the all clear signal before exit.
Bene.
That's a relief to Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. I believe we have some things we should discuss.
The next time Terrormorphs rear their ugly heads, the UC is going to be ready.
Captain? Hadrian? It would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today. As well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terrormorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
Loss of life. Damage to the spaceport. The costs of this attack are greater than I think we realize.
I'm gonna go check in with Chief Engineer Kulkarni. Start getting a plan together for that data. We're on the cutting edge of technology here. It's an exciting place to be.
Chief Yassine, these orders... A Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the Cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor. Accessing the We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you... And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the
Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also know that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun.
Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done. It won't be.
Both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate. And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative. But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun? Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the cult.
If Sam is any example of how stubborn the Freestar people can be, then I can imagine how difficult it must be dealing.
Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her. Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support. And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code. Huh. Well, if that's the case, I'll wait to be pleasantly... UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the Ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage. But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy. So, if you are going to try and access the device... Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you. Name's Cameron Long. He's younger than Ratcliffe, bears less of a grudge towards the UC. He works closely with the Ambassador, making him a promising source for information on the ins and outs, and someone who very likely hates her guts. Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. Absolutely do not harm anyone. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over, but I can't. All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there. Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych event. Well, these days, they're primarily considered a security threat. House Varun Zealots, a fundamentalist outshoot of the group that stayed behind when the rest retreated into seclusion, want nothing more than to send everyone not dedicated to their cause to the great serpent in the sky. But that hasn't always been the case. After they ended the Serpent's Crusade about 70 years back, House Varun did take a real run at trying to normalize relations with the rest of the galaxy. It's why they have an embassy here in the first place, why they were included in the armistice negotiations. But then, without warning, they left, leaving behind, to our knowledge, just the Ambassador and his duty under the armistice. It does, but there's a concern. We're not 100% sure Balmore is actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting. Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice. Then you search the embassy for his biometric key, collect your code piece, and we'll go about notifying his next of kin, if we can ever find them.
but let's hope it doesn't come to that. The embassy is still legally House Varun's sovereign territory, so we're not technically permitted inside. We've snuck in the occasional spy, of course, but the ambassador has proven more evasive. But we're quite sure he hasn't left the city. The man... The Varun delegation brought more than a few of their native flora with them when they set up in the embassy. It seems those plants have been allowed to flourish, making it hard for us to verify what's flora and... It would at least be a speedier to go, but I, of course, hope the ambassador is alive. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there. Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
Okay. Hello.
Zeroing in on anything useful?
I'm sorry, but I need sign-off from the Interstellar Affairs office before I can set foot in there.
You gotta be kidding me. It's plumbing, not a peace treaty. It could cause an incident. It would mean my job, sir. Fine. I'll begin the process. Wouldn't want to withhold the chance for more red tape from the great UC.
Hard to believe it's been 2 decades since we were at war with the Collective, when it seems like only yesterday. I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective. But you lead, and I'll follow.
It's good to be back at the embassy.
As in more than one? All that security and they still can't protect their own space.
Most times, entry to New Atlantis is seamless. But on occasion...
I just wish I had received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here?
Sounds like it was a real mess down at the spaceport.